Hey guys, it's Oluvids, and today I'm going to be talking about the 5 characters that I would like to see in the second wave of Smash Ultimate's DLC. So for this video, I'm going to be assuming that there's going to be 5 characters like in the original Fighters Pass. So of course, there's going to be 5 characters that I'm going to be talking about. So this is going to be based on my opinions, and it's okay if these aren't the characters that you may want in Smash. As long as you don't whine about it, it's fine. So these 5 characters will only come from games that I've actually played before, so spoiler alert, Doomguy isn't here. So if you don't know these characters, then of course feel free to do some research instead of just saying,
they should have chosen someone more relevant. Ah, what a waste of one of my slots. It should have been Waluigi. Ah!
Alright, well with that out of the way, let's get on with this video. Alright, so the first one is Crash Bandicoot, and I have some history with the Crash Bandicoot series, especially the Wrath of Cortex. I'm constantly reminded of the unfinished business I have with it. It's always something that comes back to haunt me one way or another.
Oh, you got me.
Play of Crash Bandicoot and the Wrath of Cortex.
Crash Bandicoot would be a really cool addition to the roster. We have Mario, Sonic, and now we have the third big platformer, this time from the original PlayStation. It would also be really cool if they could bring his various moves over to Smash, while still making him feel like Crash. While his later additions like his mech suit would be cool, I would like if they pull from his earlier games, because I don't want to see Crash of the Titans being represented, since it isn't really accurate to the rest of the series. So originally, I never really cared much about Heihachi. He was probably my least favorite Mishima. However, Tekken 7 quickly changed my view of him once they showed why he did what he did in the past. And I could see a stage being the Pagoda Temple since it was very important in Heihachi's life. It was kind of the turning point of his character. So yeah, he would be different from Ken and Ryu. He would, you know, have his iconic Tekken moves, of course. Of course, there would be no sidestepping, but I mean, maybe they can go like a Street Fighter X Tekken approach. I don't have that game, so I don't really know too much about it, but, you know, they could probably draw inspiration from that since it's a strictly like 2D fighter. So yeah, Tekken and Mortal Kombat are like the missing links in terms of fighting game characters being represented at Smash. However, since I never played Mortal Kombat, this spot's going to Heihachi.
Reach for my hand, I'll soar away.
Alright, now before you start disliking the video, let me tell you a little bit about Byleth. While they may look kinda like Marth, their moveset would be completely different. They wield a weapon called the Sword of the Creator, which is a sword that could also extend like a whip. The default class could also use lower level black and white magic skills. So I can see a mechanic similar to Robin in terms of their sword, where, you know, when they have the durability fully maxed out, they have their whip attacks, and then once their durability is weakened, they'll turn to a close range sword fighter. And while I would personally like to see the house leaders in Smash, I can't see them adding them without adding Byleth first. Their stage would probably be Garrick Mach Monastery. And I'm about to go into spoilers, so make sure you skip ahead in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I could see them making a stage out of Garrick Mach Monastery in 2 different ways. Either during Edelgard's invasion right before the time skip, or when the monastery is being attacked by Rhea and the rest of the dragons. I feel like that would be a really cool stage to have, like, in the monastery in the midst of a gigantic war. That would be really cool, and in typical Fire Emblem fashion. We need to have an out there niche character in the roster, and that character is going to be the prince from Katamari Damacy. So I've never actually beaten this game, but I'll never forget how wacky and creative it is. Even the opening and premise is something that I can never forget. This game is about a 5cm prince using his Katamari ball to collect everyday objects to create stars due to the fact that the king crashed into every single star while flying around in space. Anyway, so he would be a very unique character and would be really cool if he could always have his Katamari out in battle. And I could picture his final smash being him going to a city and collecting so much objects that his Katamari becomes bigger than skyscrapers. And then he rolls it on the fighters and then launches it up in the air to create a star. I think the prince would be a really fun and unique character to use, and you gotta have someone that's like out of nowhere, His stage would probably be either like somebody's house or a city, but like all the fighters would be really small to reflect, the actual game.
One sky, one destiny.
Light. The door to light. We'll go together. Yeah.
Sora!
I think it's safe to say that I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan. But what can I say? Kingdom Hearts is my favorite franchise. And who else would be a better pick than Sora? In terms of his combat, he'd probably be a really combo-heavy character. I don't know how they would incorporate his multiple variations of a combo, but it would be really cool if you could combine, say, A and B to modify your combos in certain ways, such as starting out with A to do your jabs and then using B as a launcher up in the air, and then using up B as a rising slash to continue your air combo. It would be really cool if his combos depend on which move you use last, so it could be like the actual game, and your combos will never exactly be exactly the same. It'll depend on which move you use last. It would also be really cool if they incorporate drive forms into the game, and would change his entire moveset to match the form. And while I would love for his character to be based off of Kingdom Hearts 2, they'll probably base him off of Kingdom Hearts 3, which might have less options, but I guess it'll be a little easier to make into a character. While he may not be able to use all of his transformations due to Disney inspirations, he could tap into second form at least. He also might be able to use Ragnarok or Ars Arcanum depending on if an enemy is close or not, similar to Ryu's Final Smash. He might also be able to use Trinity Limit as his Final Smash, but I feel like it would be kind of weird if he does it by himself, so I'm leaning more towards Ragnarok and Ars Arcanum. His moveset options are so vast due to how many games he appears in, and the fact that every single game has a completely different battle system with completely different moves. So, they have so much stuff to pull from. It's hard to, think about the definitive Sora moveset. Anyway, I could see a stage either being one of three places. Either the Keyblade Graveyard, Scala ad Caelum, or Destiny Islands. But I feel like Destiny Islands would be the best choice. You could have it start out as a normal island, you know, nice, peaceful. You can see Tidus, Waka, and Selphie just playing around there. And then eventually, as it gets nighttime, it gets consumed by darkness. And you know, the whole world just turns crazy. And you could see Sora, Riku, and Kairi running around at night. Of course, you could only have Sora running around if, you know, he isn't being used. But I feel like that would be really cool, honestly. Okay, so those were the 5 fighters that I would like to see in Smash Bros. In the future as DLC characters. So, I encourage you to put your list down in the comments, or, I don't know, say if you agree or disagree with any characters I put, or if you can think of any, I don't know, more interesting concepts for the characters, maybe a better stage choice. Put it down in the comments, put any of your opinions in the comments, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.